All right, so this video is for lesson 4.1 homework. Number one, what is the name of the quantity in a radical? That's the little number sticking out to the side here. Does anybody know the name of that piece? Index. So exponent is the little number just on a regular, little number up high. Here it's called an index. So we can have an index, if it's just a square root, if we just do like the square root of 16, that means what number times itself gives me 16. That index is 2, but if it's not written there, it's assumed to be a 2. We're going to deal with some that look like this that have a 3, an index of 3. And that means what number times itself 3 times will give me 8. Okay? Number 2 is what is the name of a symbol that means root of? That's the radical symbol. So the little number outside is the index. The radical is the square root symbol. So for algebra and any math past algebra, you need to know how to simplify radicals. This is something I was never taught in high school, and my math classes in college ate my lunch because I didn't know how to do this. So square root of 338. I need to simplify this. So how I teach algebra kids to do it is we factor it, okay? I don't know if y'all remember doing this in 6th grade, but you should have. 338, it's an even number. So what number can I divide any even number by? Divide it by 2. Okay, so I got 2 and 169. 338 is the same as 2 times 169. 2 is a prime number. 2 cannot be divided by anything but itself and 1. That's the definition of a prime number. So prime numbers we circle when we factor. To tell if a number is divisible by 3, you add up the digits. 1 plus 6 plus 9, and I get 16. Is 16 divisible by 3? So that's not divisible by 3. Oh, quit turning off. Okay, at this point, really what you can do is just start dividing it. So we know 2 won't go in it. We know 3 won't go in it. We can try a 4. Doesn't work. We know 5 won't go in it. Try a 6. 6 won't go in it. 7 won't go in it. 8 won't go in it. 9 won't go in it. We know 10 won't. 11 won't. 13. 169 is the same as 13 times 13. So the reason I kept going even once I kind of got past the basic few was if they're telling me to simplify this radical, at least 2 of these prime numbers I got to have the same. I got to have multiples of them. Okay? So the square root of 38, I can break this down into the square root of 2 times 13 times 13. Nope.
Where did you get to get the 2 out?
Did you not write it down as 2 times 13 squared?
No. Okay, there you go. When we multiply a number by itself, I can write that as 2 times 13 squared. These are radical rules. If you're multiplying something underneath a radical, you can separate them. So the square root of 2 times 13 squared is the same as the square root of 2 times the square root of 13 squared. And the reason that I want to do that I want to pull them apart, is because, again, rules of exponents here. So I'm trying to find a marker that'll show up different. When we're simplifying stuff, a square root or a radical symbol cancels out the exponent of 2. So that's just a plain 13. So I've got the square root of 2 times 13, but if I want to write it in proper form, I write 13 times the square root of 2. I just flip it. The plain old number comes first, the radical goes at the end. Again, never being taught the rules in high school, this stuff ate my lunch in college. Until somebody sat down and explained it to me the exact same way I'm explaining it to you. And told me when she found out I was going to be a teacher, please teach your kids how to do this. Okay? Because in college, you have to do it with fractions, and fractions make it even worse. All right, number 5. So we've got the square root of 972. So first I'm going to factor it. I love it when they're even because I can just divide it by 2. 2 times 486.
Why do you circle 2?
Because it's a prime number. That means that one can't be broken down any further. Divided by 2, okay. So I got a 2 and a 243. Okay, what about 243? So let's see if it's divisible by 3. 2 plus 4 plus 3 gives me a 9. 9's divisible by 3, which means this is divisible by 3. Ooh, 243 divided by 3. So 3 times 81. 3 is a prime number. What two numbers multiply together to give me 81? So I can break it down, even though those aren't 9 times 9. Those aren't primes, but that kind of helps me break it down a little bit quicker. Because what does 9 times 9 break down to? 3 times 3, right? And those are my primes. And then here I've got 3 times 3. So 2 squared. So I've got 2 squared. I want to make groups of 2. Okay? Because 2 times 2 is the same as 2 squared. So 3, here, I've got 2 3's here. So times 3 squared. So I use those. I use these. I got 2 here. So 3 squared. And then I've got 1 left over. The reason I group them in groups of 2, because if we split it up and we square root each piece, this cancels this, this cancels this, this cancels this. That one can't cancel. It's a square root of 3 all by itself. So what I have is 2 times 3 times 3, 2 times 3 times 3, and then the square root of 3 out here. And then this, just combine them. 18 times the square root of 3. That's your answer. Okay, so here's how you do it, like if it's multiple choice. If it's multiple choice, type in the question what they want you to simplify, and then type in your answer choices. So 18 times the square root of 3, and guess and check. If it's multiple choice, you can do it that way. Okay? That is what I teach Algebra 1 kids to do when it's multiple choice.
Wait, what did you do? I'm sorry, I didn't see.
I just type, if it's multiple choice, you can type your question in and then each of your answer choices to see which two match up when you put them in the calculator and it converts it to a decimal.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's cheating, but alright.
Huh?
That's kind of cheating, but alright.
If it's multiple choice, use what you're given, right? All right, so now we've got a 3 on the outside, which means I need groups of 3. So 3 times the square root of 162. So we still got to break down 162. We love even numbers. 2 times 81. Well, we've already broken down 81. 81 was 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 gives me 81. Okay? So when I have a different index, that index tells me what I need groups of. I need things cubed. So I've got 2 times, here's 3 3's, so 3 cubed, and then a 3 by itself. Because I have to cube root them. I have to do cube root of 3, cube root of 3. Okay? Because a regular square root won't cancel the cube. Or an exponent of 2 won't cancel a cube root. Okay, so the index and the exponent have to match for us to get that canceling out. So this one here becomes just a regular old 3. And then 2 times 3 is 3 times the cube root. Don't forget your index of 6.
Was the normal number goes on the outside?
Yeah, the one that you canceled
Yeah.
the cube root on. All right. If you square root a negative number, you're starting to look at what are called imaginary numbers. Okay? But you can cube root a negative. So the reason that you can cube root a negative is because you can multiply 3 negatives together and get a negative. You can't multiply, there are no 2 numbers that you can multiply together that will give you a negative answer. The same number. Okay? So cube roots can have a negative radicand, what's underneath the radical. So if we do 3 and the negative cube root of 297. So we've got to break down 297. So 2 plus 9 plus 7, 18. 18 is divisible by 3. So 297 is divisible by 3. Is 99 divisible by 3? Yep. And then 33 is 3 times 11. Is 11 a prime number? All right, here's where the trick comes in though, because we need this to be negative. Okay, so what we've got is 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 11. If we just, I don't know, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. 3 times 3 times 3 times 11 is 297. I need, though, to be able to multiply those things together and get a negative 297. So I'm going to do negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times 11. Okay. So I've got the cube root. I've got 3 of them. So negative 3 cubed times the cube root of 11. This cancels this, and so I'm left with just that negative 3 and then the cube root of 11. So if you're cube rooting a negative, typically you pull that negative out. All right, there are 5 minutes left in class, okay? Get done what you can. You know, I don't like sending homework on football nights. If you struggle with this, if you try to work on it over the weekend, please come see me during tutorials.